to the end of Ramadan, like every year, we have this issue of whether it's Eid or whether it's not Eid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله. O you who believe, do not present your opinions before preceding the opinion or the ruling of Allah and His Messenger. And تحبط أعمالكم وأنتم لا تشعرون. Your actions will be annihilated like this, and you will not notice. Allah will wipe away your good deeds if you do such a thing. Meaning that once Allah and His Messenger have given a judgment, have given a command about something, it is not for the believers to present other opinions and to present other alternatives anymore. There's many different occasions of revelation that have been mentioned for this verse in the beginning of Surah Al-Hujurat. However, there are contradictions in these reports because there are different times and different situations. Best perhaps is to say that these are all different examples of times when the verse was applicable. And of course this tells us that there were many such occasions when people would present opinions, giving them precedence over the opinion, over the word of the Prophet and, or God and His Messenger. And this is very important. This is something that the Quran, not only in Surah Al-Hujurat, but constantly throughout the Quran, reminds the Muslims that the very foundational principle, or one of the very foundational principles of Islam, is submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger, to obey Allah and His Messenger. And this is something that Allah repeats constantly throughout the Quran. In Surah At-Tawbah, we read of Allah's command given to the people through His Messenger to go and fight in battles, to wage jihad, and how they would come up with one excuse after another about that. That, oh, you know, it's far away, what about our children? It's hot now, it's cold now, it's rainy now, it's season for harvesting our fruit now, and so on and so on. One excuse after another would be made. And Allah says about them in Surah At-Tawbah, لَوْ كَانَ عَرَضًا قَرِيبًا وَسَفَرًا قَاصِدًا لَاتَّبَعُوكَ. If it was an easy journey, if it was somewhere close by, they would accompany you, even if just for getting the loot from the battle. وَلَكِنْ بَعُدَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الشُّقَّةُ. However, they see that it is difficult and far away. It's not worth the time and the investment put into it. Yeah? And this is a very incorrect, obviously, way of looking at affairs. Allah says in the Quran that those who present their own opinions, who give preference to their own opinions rather than the command of Allah, this is a type of kufr. Allah describes them, الَّذِينَ جَعَلُوا الْقُرْآنَ عَظِيمًا in Surah Al-Hijr. They are like the ones who have made the Quran into different parts. They have torn it to pieces. Yeah? They have torn it to pieces, accepting some, rejecting some. Where it's convenient, we accept. Where it's inconvenient, we reject. In Surah An-Nisa, He very explicitly addresses them as kuffar. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Certainly those who have disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. وَيُرِيدُونَ أَن يُفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. And they want to differentiate between Allah and His messengers. وَيَقُولُونَ نُؤْمِنُ بِبَعْضٍ وَنَكْفُرُ بِبَعْضٍ. They say we believe in some of it and we reject some of it. وَيُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَّخِذُوا بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ سَبِيلًا. And they want to travel a path in between this. Meaning, they want to say we're believers, but they are only believers insofar as it is convenient for them. So they are not true believers in so much as they are believers in themselves. They will believe in that which is convenient, which their own desires tell them this is good. But where they see that this is inconvenient, or this is not what I want, they will be the first to abandon and to reject. And this was their attitude towards the holy messenger of God, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, this is very important, and this is a very critical issue. We see that in Europe, and here in Finland, why not? That the churches are undergoing crises in the last few decades, and especially in the current time that we're living in, whereby they are torn between what their religion teaches and what the people want. And the trend has been to constantly go towards what the people want rather than what the religion teaches. And we see that with many, many issues, whether it be issues of marriage or sexual relations or alcohol or gambling or this and that, etc. And we see that now here in Finland, many of the members of the church, many of the people who are maybe themselves priests or work in the church, are critical of the church, saying that what is the role of the church anymore? When it only says what the people want to hear, and it is not willing to challenge the people, and it is not willing to criticize them, say what you're doing is wrong, and this is not what our religion teaches, and you should abandon this sin. It's not willing to do that. So what is it anymore? It is not a moral guide for society. It has turned into a charity or something. And I don't say this just to be critical of the church. I say this to be critical of us, because unfortunately this trend can be seen amongst the Muslim communities in Europe as well, especially here in Finland, whereby we have many communities, we have many centers, we have many Islamic associations, where people are quite content with not having the leadership of a religious scholar, so that they may themselves decide what is religion. I will not go to the mosque if it's like that. I do not go to the mosque if they are like this. Whereas it is the role of the mosque to teach the people the religion. Not that the people come to the mosque to teach religion to the religious leadership there. Anyone who wants to become a religious scholar has to decide whether he wants to work for the satisfaction of the people or for the satisfaction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many times, these are not one and the same. There will be conflict. There will be disagreement. Yeah? And anyone who wants to become a leader for a religious community must be willing to challenge that community. Must be willing to incur the hate and the dissatisfaction of that community. Otherwise, what is he doing? What is his role? What is his purpose? What is his use? If he's just telling people what they want to hear, then he's a useless person. He might as well go and join the ranks amongst them. He's not a leader for them. Even the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, as we read in the Quran, as we see in the narrations, time after time the Muslims criticized him, said he made mistakes, said he made sins, he was wrong in what he did. This was the messenger of God. Now what should we say about some regular scholar? Why do I mention this? As I said, it's the end of the month of Ramadan, and we always have these debates about the Eid, isn't it? What is very important is that in religion, we follow scholarship, not our own desires. Yeah? There is a reason why we have taqleed, why we have emulation of scholars, why we have marja'iyah. Even if sometimes my desire might tell me it's wrong. Yeah, I don't agree with this. I say first, whenever I might think, okay, whenever the moon is calculated to be sighted, let's have Eid. Okay, but that's my opinion. But what does the scholarship say? I should be willing to submit to that scholar, even if I disagree. It's more important to have taqleed than it is to have Eid on the correct day. I will say that much. Yeah? If we have to choose between these two, one is more important than the other. Because if we go down the path of abandoning taqleed, of following a religion which is the religion of our own desires, rather than the religion which is based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, on evidence, upon a scholarly understanding of that, then what are we but the ummah of the Jews and the Christians? As Muslims, we must be an ummatan muslimatan, an ummah which has submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to do that, one of the key ways is to be willing to be told that we are wrong sometimes, or that what we should do is like this, not what we want ourselves. And for that, we must follow the religious scholarship, the religious leaders, which can give us the correct, hopefully the correct way of doing things. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will make this ummah a united ummah, an ummah that submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and travels the middle path. ببركة الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.